Okay, good to see everybody. Good morning. Welcome back. Hey, we're playing with the scratch coding here. So let's go into a little more play. And if some folks are not able to be here due to illness and other situations, I am Zooming and I'm also recording. So you'll know we're doing recording. I'll send a paper so in case anybody needs to kind of catch up on how we do some of these things. You'll be able to catch up on there. Okay, so good to see everybody. Hey, don't forget we've got 2 activities online for Promethean board software. So don't forget about that. We've got 2 scratch things. The first one is just look at one of the tutorials. It's easy, experiment, play around with it. The second one is going to be more involved. It's going to be like do this and do that, make these things happen. So again, we only spent a couple of days here, so it should take a lot to do that. But hopefully it'll be a kind of a relaxing thing as we move toward the end of the semester, because everybody's kind of dying right now. Everybody is. The faculty are dying too, but we're professionals, so we don't show. So we look good. But we're all dying right now because it's a very busy time. So with that, this will be recorded today. So if you say, "Oh, I kind of missed something there," you could go back and you could kind of tune in on that particular place. Let's go have some fun with this stuff because it's easy, it's fun. And the idea here is that not that you'll be doing scratch coding, but as long as you know enough about it, you could lead it. But that's why I also led you into those tutorials, because in the tutorials, that's what you'll do. You can download a tutorial. You can download cards, they're coding cards, and you'll just lead your students into doing this. So as long as you have some familiarity with how it works, you'll be able to teach that. So let's experiment a little bit. Let's do a quick reminder. First, you go to scratch.mit.edu. So if you go in there, you open up the Scratch environment, say start creating. Remember that if you have something that you've already saved, notice they already start you off with a little video here. They have a little scratch in the background to see how it works. They start you with a cat. So you have something to start with. If you have something that you already saved, go to the file menu and say either new for something brand new or load from your computer. Because if you save something, it'll save it as a .sv3 file. Well, if you double click it on your machine, it's not going to know what to do with that thing. So what you have to do is you have to open it in Scratch, then it'll work. It'll be great. So those are some of the things we did and to get us started. And then we said there's a whole bunch of coding blocks. So we looked at all the different blocks and how it looks. We looked at some of the basics, and we'll review it as we go along in actual coding, because all these skills, they build upon each other. So we looked at how to add backdrops. And we said all you have to do is go down here to that little add a backdrop tool. But the only thing is when you do that, you can't just change the backdrop. You actually have to go over to coding in order to change that backdrop. So you have to code that to actually implement it. Now you can add a sprite or a character, and a sprite is anything. It could be a ball, it could be a robot, it could be people, animals. It's any kind of character you're going to move on the screen. You can add one right here. And we said that when you look at the pieces that are here, you have the ability, first of all, you click on one of these characters, so with their coding window, you'll get their name, you get their position on the stage, as they call it. You can show or hide. We're going to play with that today. You can change their size. You can also change the direction in which they're facing. So that if you say move, it's going to move in, the character will move in that particular direction. And again, to make these backdrops work, you have to add a coding block like switch backdrop to, and then or switch to the next backdrop. And then we looked at how to add some motion. And we said that's all in the motion area. They're all blue, they're color coded. And we said 3 ways you can do it. You can say move. When we say steps, it's really pixels. So it's very small steps. So we can move, that's kind of like walking. You can glide, and it means they'll just glide. Truly, we'll just kind of slide over the screen. And then you can move you can move them quickly to a location. So you can say, just go to this place and oh, there they are. They're appearing there. And then we said, how do you start these things? Well, there's three ways. One way is you can click that green flag. There's the green flag and there's a red stop. If you click the flag, normally that's the starter thing. That's the first thing that you do. So what's going to start your whole thing? Like I played a baseball application the other day. Hit that green flag, the baseball thing starts. So I wouldn't do it to just like move a character or something. That's kind of for a higher level thing. But you can use that. You can press any kind of key and tell it what to do. You can click on a sprite and then that can have, there are other ways to do it too, but those are motion sensing things. And then we played with this and we said, well, how about we move one of the characters around? So we have the characters moving. We said they can move the X and they can move the Y. So we said that X is simply going across. If it's positive, it goes to the right, negative goes to the left. If it's Y, I mean vertical goes up or down is negative. So it kind of makes sense in that system. So we looked at the moving like that. And then we finished last time by doing this. We said you can, now this is not audio, but it's a visual thing. You can have the character say something. You can actually have them say something, you can record something, or play sound. But in this case, say means you get like a balloon that says they're saying, or it's a think bubble, it's a thought bubble. And you type in there what you want them to say. And again, you have something triggers that, and that's kind of cool. And you can say how long it's going to go. So let's look at some of the intermediate stuff today. So let's play and have some fun with this. It's time to relax a little bit. And hopefully you'll find this relaxing. I know I do. I love this stuff. And today we're going to start by playing some music. And I really love that. So anybody play the saxophone or the guitar? Well, you can play it now with Scratch. So we're going to go in and we're going to play some different sounds. So the sprite, certainly, so we have the cat make some sounds. So we'll start there. But then we can also have the saxophone play sounds, and it's either play sound or play until done. Now you might like another instrument. We'll play electric guitar. What do you want to play? You go ahead and experiment with something. I'm going to play with the sax, and I'll start with the cat. So I'm going to start with the cat and say, well, I'm going to just click the cat. When the sprite is clicked, we're going to have the cat make a sound. So let's go in and do that. So I have, right now I have no backdrop and I just have one sprite. And notice that the cat's effigy is up there in the right-hand coding window. And that just reemphasizes it's the cat that you're dealing with. So if I go into sound, I'll find different sounds in there. And this one is play sound. And notice there's a couple. There's play the sound until done. And we're going to see the difference, or start the sound. And there's also ability to stop sounds. So if I just click on this for now, sure enough, the cat's making a sound. If you like cats, you'll enjoy this a lot. If not, take another sprite of something you like. Oh, that sounds very nice. Now let's go trigger this thing. Remember, the trigger is under events. So what's going to trigger it? Well, I'm going to say when we click the cat. So I just simply drag that out. And I'm going to click on the cat. Sure enough, it works. Again, could I put that on the green flag? Yeah, but that's kind of a very mild thing to do for such a big button. You know, save that for like, oh, start the whole thing off. So we'll get into that as we travel along. Okay, I'm going to go out and get another sprite now. So I'm going to go out here and I'm going to find my mouse on the screen. There it is. And I'm going to go out to music. And they have drums, they have keyboards, trumpets. So what do you want to play? You go ahead, find it. And I'm going to move the cat over here, who's making sound every time I touch it. And here I've got my saxophone. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to start experimenting with some different sounds. But before I do, how about I give a better a backdrop here. Let's give a backdrop on the stage. So I'm going to go out to where it says add a backdrop, and I'm going to go into music in this case, and I'm going to put the saxophone in the theater. So here's the theater. Cat's over on the side right now. Saxophone is center stage. And now I'm going to go out and get some sounds here. So sound, you know, is in the sound area. And I'm going to say play a sound, and I'm going to try start sound. So I'm going to do both. I'm going to start with the one that says start sound. I'll put this over here kind of on the side. And let me just play it so you can hear it. Oh, there it is, playing a sound. And notice they have different pitches in here. If you ever played any music, you'll recognize that they're playing a whole scale here. You can pick the sound you're going to do. If I take another one, start sound, I'm going to drag this one down. Now, if you know anything about music, you can start, you're getting excited right now. Because if I play both of these sounds, oh, it's playing them together. Start sound, I'll take one more. And I'm going to do this. If I just start the top one, so it either sounds like a car horn from an old car, or you hear that, musicians know that as a chord, 3 sounds going at the same time. Well, why are they playing at the same time? Well, when you look at it, it says start sound, and here's a fast, start sound, start sound. There's nothing to pause them. So it just says, go ahead, play it. Now, I'm going to do the opposite now. I'm going to go and get the thing that says play sound until done. And I'm going to duplicate what I just did. And I'm going to take 1 or 2 of them until done. When I get more than one out here, it'll make sense. Play sound until done. Now, anyone ever traveled down to or listened to the music of New Orleans? New Orleans jazz, Mardi Gras. Before Easter starts, they've got Mardi Gras. Actually, Mardi Gras in this area isn't like one day. In New Orleans, it's about 2 months because they really party it up. So if I click on this first one, well, that's different because notice it's playing one sound all the way through, and then it moves to the next one. It's doing exactly what it says it'll do. If I play this other one, start all these sounds, they all kind of play at the same time. Oh, that's interesting. So you're hearing a little bit of a song going on there. I'll get back to New Orleans in a moment here. This is, anybody recognize the start of that song? Oh, when the saints go marching in. I can play that song. Now, I'm going to want this to repeat a couple of times. Okay, this is a whole different thing we can do now. If we want to repeat this, we can add another thing in here. And this is called, in Scratch, they call it a control. Now, in what they're calling control, we normally in the programming coding kind of world know it as a loop. So if you've studied anything with coding in the past, you know, a loop is something that just repeats and maybe under certain conditions, but it's something that you don't have to type the same thing over and over again. You can say repeat it. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to say repeat, and I'm going to drag this over here. Now notice, this is like Legos. We've got this whole blank area in here, and there's a very specific type of Lego that's going to fit in here. And it's all of these that are down here. All these sounds can fit in there. So I drag this over here. Now watch out. I'm just going to take the first one. I'll take the top one because if I drag this, the bottom, oh, I could separate it out. So I could separate it and put other things and, you know, kind of move them around and so on. If I take the top one, I get all of them. I'm going to squeeze them in here. There it is. So if you look at what it's saying to do, and I'm going to have this play 3 times, because that's how the song works. I'm saying play these sounds, each one until done, and then when you hit the bottom, go up and repeat it a second time, and then go back up and repeat it a third time, and then it drops out of that loop. It just stops after that. So we'll show you that that's going to work. And right now I have no event starting this. Okay, it's not really a good rhythm going down there yet, but don't worry, we'll fix that. What I'd like to do is, because the computer world is fast, notice in this control area, they have a thing called wait. So I'm going to take that wait, and I'm going to try to drop it down here in this mix, right toward the bottom. So play all of these 4 sounds one at a time, and then wait a second, then jump back up and repeat it a second. Do it again, repeat it a third. So if I click on top, Okay, that's pretty good. That's starting to sound like a song. Now, maybe what I want to do too is I want to get some control to start this, some event to start this thing. So I'm going to drag out a key. So I'm going to say, instead of space, I'm going to say, how about S for saxophone? Now, if you're doing guitar, maybe put a G in there. And if you're doing this stuff live with me, well, turn your volume up so you can hear it and enjoy. You know, I never mind if machines are making some are making some sounds there. So, having done all of that, could I finish the song? So, at least as part of the song, I'm going to go back to sound. I'm a musician, so I want to finish it out right. So, I'm going to take the play sound until done because I know that's one at a time. And then I'm going to do, and if you know the song and you're a musician, you know what pitches to put in there. So, I'm going to do E, C, E, D because that's the whole half of the song right there. And if I took the time, I could actually play the entire song. Okay, so I have that happening. And then what I can do is there's some other things I could do after this if I choose. And I'll show you some things we're going to build onto this as we travel on here. So right now I can press the S key and it's going to play the whole song. Are you ready to do some music? Sings. Usually they march along. Go, sing, go. I want to be the when I do that part. But you could put that in. So you could march along as they do in New Orleans, clap your hands, and they normally have a happy beverage with them, and they're doing some fun things and throwing beads and all that kind of stuff. We just made music. Now, do you think your students will enjoy doing this kind of thing? And yet you're coding to make this thing happen. So if you could start them, it's not going to take a lot for them to figure this out. You just have to start. That's why I say when you go in to the classroom, a lot of teachers and rookies who hey, you're coming in, you got the latest, the greatest. Why don't you lead this stuff? Because we know how to do it. It's not going to take long, and you could get students doing this. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is now I have all kind of characters on this screen. I'm going to do another interesting thing here, and I'm going to, and this will be you'll have to look at either motion or in looks. What I want to do is I want to hide, and there it is under looks because it's what you see. When I'm done playing the saxophone, maybe I'm going to hide the saxophone. So let me just put that in there. So notice how we're kind of building as we go through. So after the sax plays, let's have it hide. So in other words, it's going to disappear. So now I know all I have to do is press the S key. Now to make this more dramatic, when the users are actually doing this, I'll hit the full screen key, and this is what they're going to see. They're not going to see all that code. So here's the sax doing its thing. It's playing its song. Everybody, the masses are happy, enjoying. When it's done, it goes away because we did a hide. Well, that means that when the sax starts, I really should show it. So when are we going to do that? Well, let me go into the looks area. Let me get a show, and I'm going to stick it right here after, it'd be the very first thing that happens, right after the S key is pressed. So the very first thing will happen, I'm going to press it now because we'll do this as we travel on. If I press it, you know the sax is going to reappear, play its gig, and then hide, it goes away. Now, another thing, if I happen to have a different backdrop, well, then I can have that backdrop appear at this point too, because now we have to kind of build that in as well. So maybe what I'm going to do is, I already know I'm going to use different backdrops. So let me go to the looks, because it's something that you see. I'm going to drag this out here, and I want to take it to the theater, which is going to be where the sax is playing. And maybe right after the word show, or even maybe right before, I'm going to drag this down a little bit. I'm going to squeeze that in. So the very first thing that will happen is, I'm going to have a couple of different stages here. Very first thing, see the stage, see the sax, have it do its thing, then the sax goes away. Isn't that pretty cool? So we're doing all kind of stuff here, and it's easy, it's fun, it's not hard. And here you'll see that we in the PowerPoint that I created to go along with this, we introduce some of these pieces. So you want to look back and see, well, how do you do that? There's another way you can see that. Like here, if I say when a certain key is pressed, that's that trigger, that's the event. Forever, keep doing this. Oh, that's interesting. Forever. Here we said when a certain key is pressed, repeat. Like you have the cat meow 4 times. Just keep repeating 4 times, and then it drops out and continues in the rest of the coding. So that's pretty interesting. So that's what we do with those loops. We can do some interesting things there. Just to do that one more time, if I go back to the cat, click on the cat's code, and most important, when you come in, make sure you click on the right sprite, because otherwise you're going to be coding some other object. So now here I have the cat meowing. All right, let me go put one of those loops in here, what they call controls. So let me go in, I'll take a control, and I'm going to say repeat so many times. Now be careful, because in programming we call it garbage in, garbage out. Could I say forever? That cat will never shut up. It'll die meowing. I mean, it'll keep going. So then you have to hit that stop button. That's why they give you that stop button, because you could make it do things you don't want it to do. All right, let me take the repeat, and I'm going to drag it out here and envelop that in. I'm not going to say 4 times because it'll drive us crazy. I'm going to do 3 times, and I'll put that back up here where when the sprite is clicked. So now if I click on the cat, there it goes. Now it kind of cut off my sound a little bit, but it will go 3 times. So that's pretty interesting and pretty exciting, easy to do. So any questions on the loops or playing music so far? Anybody having fun doing this? Is this a time to like relax a little bit at the end of the semester? Oh yeah. Okay, good. I'm happy you're on the same page with me. So let's go and let's take a look at some other characters, and let's see what else we can do with these other characters. Let's go make a sprite dance. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Let's do some dancing here. Any dancers here in the crowd? It's a good way to relax. It's a good way to burn off some calories and some energy and some negative vibes if you have inside. So let's go do it. I'm going to go look for a character who dances. So I'm going to go out and look for this gal right here, because I know Anina, I know that she does some dancing. So let's go out and take a look at it. I'm going to say add a sprite. And I already know that Anina dances, but here's how you can really tell. Notice if you roll over, I went into all people, all sprites, and I find Anina right up there. Notice she's got a lot of activity going on. She's certainly doing a dance. If I look at Andy, oh, Andy's playing basketball, and there's a couple moves there. Ammon is not doing anything at this point, but some of these characters are, and some are not. So I'm going to go add Anina dance. Oh, and Anina's looking a little big there. Maybe I'll make her a little smaller. So it says direction and size. Maybe I'll take her down to 80%. And maybe I'm going to give her even a different, I'll give her a different backdrop. Let me give her something else. Let me take her to another one. So let me go out and let me add a backdrop. I'll go to music since we're doing musical things. And I'm going to take her to Spotlight. If I make her a little smaller, she'll actually fit right on the stage. So let me make her a 70% Anita. Okay, there she is. Maybe a 60 even, because she's kind of a little bigger on there. Oh yeah, nice. So now she'll do some dancing in the spotlight. So what we have to do here is we have to get her. First of all, I got that cat sitting over there. All right, let me click on the cat. Let me press the show hide button here. I can hide the cat right now because the cat's not really doing anything here. I could just hide the cat and manually show or hide later if I want to. But again, to be practical, at some point I'll put that into coding. All right, having looked at all that, let's see what we can do with this character. So I'm going to click on Anina. So now she's got an empty coding window. Very important. Make sure you click on the character and get the proper coding window. So now that we do, and we have that, what I'd like to do is I'll start off. Let me already get one of these keys going. I'm going to get one of these events. So I'm going to say A for Anina. Let me go get the A key already. Now, again, we said, be careful, garbage in, garbage out. If I put an S on here as the starter, that'll start two characters. So it'll do what you ask it to do. So what we have to do is we have to switch over this backdrop. Let's not forget about that. So let me go to the looks and let me switch the backdrop to the spotlight, which is the current one. That way, if I press the S, immediately the stage clears and we get a different scene and everything. And now I would like to have Anina change what we call her costume. So when we say costume, it doesn't mean necessarily the pants she's wearing or that kind of thing. We said that costume means it's some kind of a change in looks. And one of the change in looks is emotion. So Anina has a bunch of different things she can do. So let's go out and take a look at what she can do. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to say, let's see where they say costumes. Switch the costume to, and next costume. I'm going to pull both of those out. Because you know this is live. If I press next costume, oh, look at that. She's already moving. So if I could just say next costume and get her to move like that, that would be fantastic. So I'll take her to her starting point here. If I look under switch the costume, here's all the motions she can do. So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So she's got like 13 different things. And you could start her at the place called stance. That's when she starts, before she starts doing her dance. So 13. So really for a loop, I have to get her to move at least 13 times in order to make this happen. So let me go out because we know that those control loops are out there. We already used that repeat one. Now, the cool thing is, instead of saying move to one, I could say, give me the next. So then move to the next, and move to the next, and move to the next. And if I said 13 times up here, that's going to work. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to go move this over here, and I'm going to hit the A key. Oh, is she dancing up a storm? She's going way too fast. The computer world is fast, we said. All right, so we could put a weight in here. All right, let me go up to this control area. And after each costume change, I'd like to do a weight. Now, I know 1 second is pretty long. If I do 0.5, I think that'll work out better. Let me try it. Oh, sure enough, I can see her dance. I can see the movement. That sounds pretty good. So we have that going. And then she goes back to her standing position. All right, let's go out and put some sound in here. When we're dealing with Anina, you'll notice that it says either start sound or play sound until done. So you know the difference between those. I'm going to say start the sound, and let me look. Oh, they have a couple of things. They have dance magic. They have dance celebrate, and they also have record. Could you record your own song? You could. Could you, if you're a Swiftie, for example, could you record something from Taylor Swift and have Anina dance to that music? You could, because it says record. So you can do it. I'll start off with Dance Magic, see what it is. And I'm going to say, start this sound, and I'm going to drag it out. Now, where does it make sense to put it? Well, we're going to press the A key. We're going to make sure the background is right. Before she starts dancing, that would be a good place to start the sound. So let me do it. I'm going to press the A key. Hey, sure enough, music's coming. Things are happening. Okay, she's done dancing. The music even continues. All right, maybe I can, well, two things. One thing is maybe I can change the sound, the song. Let me move to Dance Celebrate. Let's see how that is. And then I can put a stop sound to. Well, that's a good one. Hey, look at that hey in there. So we could put that in. Now, if I want to hear the hey, maybe I will let it go the whole way. But if I'm concerned that the song is outdoing, kind of outliving her dancing, what I could do is I could simply get a stop all sounds. and put it right at the end. As soon as she's done dancing, the music, wherever it's at, is just going to stop. All right, that would be pretty cool. So we can have all that happening. Now, if I go back and press the S key, the backdrop changed. The music, oh, but Anina's still sitting there. So my song plays, the saxophone disappears. If I press the A key, her background comes on. She does her shtick. The music plays. I didn't get the because I stopped it early. Okay, now I can see that I have to add something else in here because Anina is going to sit on that stage, even if it's not appropriate for her to be there at the time. So what I'll do is I'm going to just pull this down a little bit for Anina. Now make sure you're in her screen if you're doing this. And I'm going to go to looks because that's where you can see anything on the screen. And I'm going to go for a show. Let's show her right after we change the background. And then why don't at the end of her deal, let's have her hide. So then she turns off. You can't see her anymore at that point. So now if I press the S key, all that stuff happens. If I press the A key, a whole other thing happens here. And that's really pretty good. So we can even make it better. I'll save that for another moment here. Thing to make it even better, which is kind of cool. Let's do one more set of motions here, and we're going to do it in a similar way. And we're going to animate a sprite. I'm going to choose Avery because I know she's one of the walking sprites. So her costume is walking. And we're going to use a loop to repeat, and we're going to get her to move. And you know, a costume is going to be like her promotion here. So we're going to do that. Then we'll have to see what else we have to add in there in order to make all of this stuff work. So let me go in and let me add a new character on this screen. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to get Avery. So notice I've got an Avery who's like standing there talking and doing some animated motions there. Like she's gossiping a little bit there, having a good time. Here she's walking. So I know I'm going to get the Avery walking thing. Okay, so I have the walking. I got her ready. I can move her somewhere. I can change her size a little bit. Let me put her down just a little bit smaller. I'll put her to 85. Let's go get a backdrop for her. So I'm going to go out to the backdrops. I'm going to do an outdoors backdrop. Let's see what we can do. Oh, this is a nice one. Beach Rio. Let's put her on the beach. Everybody would like to relax a little bit. So let's get her to relax a little bit. I'm going to go out to Anina and I'm going to hide her for now so she's not in the way here. And let me go position Avery. Now let me go out and look at, you know, it's going to be a looks thing because it's a costume. So costume is just the motions that we see here, the animations. So if I can do what I did before, I can pull out both of these. I can pull out, switch the costume, and I can say next. Because when we're looping it, you're going to say the next costume, the next costume, the next costume, and it just runs through. But let's say switch to, I'm going to take a look and see how many things. She's got 4 different motions, A, B, C, D. So at least you have to move her 4 times in order to see that whole thing happen. And if I just say next costume, next costume, next costume, you notice she's walking through those 4, literally walking through those 4 steps. Okay, so you know the loop thing. So let's go do it. I'm going to go out to the control. I'm going to get a loop and say repeat it. And for now, I'll just repeat it, say 4 times just to get it started. I'm going to put next costume for her. And if I just click it for now to get it started, or better yet, I'll give her some other, I'll get I can't use A because those Avery, because I already used Avery. How about W for walking? I'll go out, get an event, and I'll say when the user clicks the W key for walking, because again, if I say A, both characters use the A, they're both going to be doing their thing. That's going to be a conflict up here. Now, if I hit the W key, first of all, zoop, 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 she's going way too fast. So you know the trick on that already. the top of the control area, they have a weight. So let's say weight. I don't know if that 1 second, 1 second is way too fast, way too slow. So how about 0.5? I'll press the W key. Okay, that's comfortable. We can see that. Now I'll probably want her to go a little bit longer than that. So in this case, why don't I just make it, I'll give her 10 for now just to start it. Then I can increase it. All right, having done that, when I press the W key, sure enough, she's doing a walking motion, but she's kind of staying in the same place. So what do we do about that? Well, remember when we first started this, we looked at the motion thing. And in the motion area, we said, why don't we have a character move a number of steps? So let me take that down here. Let me squeeze in when she changes the costume to make her look like she's in motion. Why don't I also have her move 10 pixels? So now, not only will she be looking like she's moving, but she'll actually be moving. So let's try it. I'm gonna hit the W key. Hey, sure enough, she's advancing across the screen. Hey, that's pretty cool. So she's walking. All I have to do is press that once. Now, if I want to, I could certainly make that a little bit longer. Like I could say 20 and have her move a little farther. And I could see how far that's going to go. Another thing that I notice is when I press that W key, she just keeps on going. Well, I didn't tell her to go back anywhere. So where are we going to start? Oh, she's about to walk off the screen. I'm going to hit that stop sign. She's about to walk off the screen. Okay, let me move her back down here. Let me see where this is. As long as I start her somewhere here, let me go. And maybe when she comes on the scene here, I'm going to say motion. Let's say go to, and notice the numbers are already plugged in because as long as it's over here on the left-hand side, it updates those numbers. So I'm going to take this and put this as the very first thing. So right now, to recap, when I press the W key, it says start Avery, move her somewhere. And then we're going to repeat. She's going to change her motion, and then she's going to take a step. Change her motion, take a step. So there's a weight in there too. And we're going to repeat that loop 20 times. Aren't those loops wonderful? By the way, everything you do in the technology world uses those. That's what's so powerful about Scratch, because you can teach these concepts in a simple way, but in reality, these things are everywhere. They're in your car. They're every place. Anything dealing with technology is going to have this kind of thing. So having seen this, I know that I'd like to show Avery and hide her, just like we've been doing. So, and I know that I like her beach scene here. So let me pull this stuff down a little bit. Let me go and set that stuff up. So if I go to and it's all looks. So for looks, I'm going to go and I'm going to switch the backdrop. And again, because we're on the, in my case, Beach Rio is already showing here. So I'll say switch to Beach Rio. And then I'm going to say show. And you notice I don't have to say show who because I'm in Avery walking. I'm in her screen. I'm in her coding area. So show Avery. Now I'll pull this back together. And when I'm done, I'm going to hide her at the very end. So I'll drag out a hide and put that in there. So this, now I don't really need that switch costume. I'll just kind of get rid of that. All right, so now I've got a couple of different things that are happening. So let me try them out. Let me try W here. Sure enough, she's walking. It's working. It's doing good. Now don't forget, I still have the sax out there. So she's doing, and now she disappeared. So I got the sax doing its thing. Now I still have a Nina, and let me think how I started her with an A. So I press A. Now we got that going on. Everybody with me now, you're here. Hey, I get that hey. if I want to hear the hey, just take out stop. I think I'll do it because that's too good. I want to hear the hey at the end. All right, just get rid of it then. Notice how we're kind of have a plan, but we're also kind of figuring it out as we go. That's something you do in the coding work. All right, I'm going to show you one more thing. Okay, this one, you got to see this one because this is what's going to make it really good. What I want to do is I want to not necessarily have to make the user know these, like, are they going to know to press the A key? Somehow I have to tell them. Now, if it's a game, I'm going to say, press the A key, press the S key, and that's fine. But what happens if I get them started? Maybe they can press the green flag, and then all these things will just run by themselves. We call this in Scratch a broadcast message. Now, in different coding languages, they're going to call it different things. This exists everywhere. They just call it something different. So what this does is a different way to trigger a sprite to do something. So broadcast message, think about it like a radio signal sent out. So you can say broadcast some word. There's also broadcast some word and wait. But very practically broadcast a word and in some character. Notice that this one kind of has nothing before it because this is the starter. This is the starter event. It says when I receive whatever word it is, then I'm going to start. It's a trigger. It makes it happen. So if we do that, that's kind of really kind of a cool kind of thing. All right, so let's go out and do it. So I'm going to go back out to here. And who do you want to start with? That's the person who's going to get the flag. I started with the saxophone. Maybe I'll start with the sax. So instead of pressing the S key, again, you have to go below and drag down. I'll just kind of ditch this for now. I'm probably not going to use it after this. So then I can drag it right off the screen if I want. So I'm going to go into the events. And what I want to do is I want to start this when the flag. So if I click the flag now, that's what the user will know. Oh, okay, just start this thing and it'll run its course. So I'll start that. And then what I'm going to do is, who do I want to bring in next? I've got Avery and Anina. Well, I just had some music. Maybe I'll bring Avery in next. So if I'm bring Avery in next, let me go here. Now watch how cool this is. Broadcast a message. So at the very bottom here, when this is all over, I'm going to say broadcast some message. Now it says message one. It says a new message. You can type what it is. So maybe my new message is going to be something that I'll understand, like Avery, start walking. So that's what I'm going to send out, kind of like a radio broadcast. And sure enough, it says that down here now. Broadcast, Avery, start walking. So we know this is self-contained. Now, if I just start with the flag at the very end, it hides, it shuts itself down, it broadcasts a message. Okay, so let me go over to Avery. When I go to Avery, okay, in the past I used the W key for walking. Let me just ditch that for now. If I don't need it, I could take it right off the screen. I probably won't use it again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the broadcast message and say, when I receive Avery start walking, then start. So it'll do it. So when I'm finished with this, let's get the sax playing. Oh, no, wait, I started with the sax? Avery, I didn't do Anina. So I'm gonna end with Anina. So at the very end of this second phase, I'm going to say broadcast a message. I'm going to make a new message. I'm going to say, Anina, start dancing. So now it becomes very clear what message is being sent and who's got to get that message and hear it. Let me go over to Anina. Again, before I had to press the A key. I can just ditch that. I won't need it now. I'm going to go to the broadcast message. When I receive Anina start dancing, then it's going to work. Ready to see this whole thing work? Anybody having fun out there? This is good stuff. Okay, let me hit the flag. In this case, I took out all of the press this key, press that key. And all I have to do is have the user press that green flag. Oh, there it goes. Now we're dancing, we're doing this. There's a dancing musical move today, hopefully. Broadcast message sent. There she is walking. I don't touch anything because the broadcast message went out. When she's done walking, after that loop finishes, she'll disappear. And here we go. Under the edge. This time I took off the stop now.
Hey.
Hey, gotta get that hey. And that's it. Now, is that fun? Is that cool? Could you imagine you could do all that cool stuff in here with just a couple of coding blocks? And here's the cool thing with this Scratch thing. Remember, you can also actually hook this up to Lego robotics and other devices. And in a very similar way, you're simply going to drag those blocks coding out. You could tell devices to do things. That's pretty amazing. You could be the STEM or STEAM leader in your school. How fantastic is that? So having seen all of this, now we could do other things too, like we could press the button, make the broadcast message, start the ball, and the ball will start to animate, fly. When I receive it, we could do all that kind of stuff. That's the basis of the game. So we have to teach a lot of this to get your students getting into it, to excite them, to get them to understand. No, because once they get in, it's going to be easy to do. Now, one final thing. When you do this, if you want to save this, don't forget to go to the File menu. Now, if you join, don't worry about it. Once you join, it'll save out in the cloud. But otherwise, if you want to own it, say File, Save to your computer. Now, and there it is, Scratch Project. It says number 8, because I've done others, and it's down in my downloads. If you don't do that, you won't be able to access it. And finally, don't go out on your machine and double click on that file. It's not going to know what to do. To get it to work, you have to go back up here to Scratch and say File, Load, and go out there. And I'm going to find it, and I'll find one of my SB3 files, and then I'll say Load, and whoop, it'll pop up here. So don't forget, we've got 2 Scratch activities. One is look at one of those tutorials, and you can program something right now, which is fast and easy. The other one is going to be, we haven't done everything we're going to do in it yet, but the second one is going to be more involved. Say, can you make some character like Anita dance? Can you make somebody like Avery walk? We're going to ask you to do a couple of things like that. Are you having fun? Let's have more fun on Wednesday. So I'm going to publish this video in case anybody needs to see it. And for the benefit of anybody who's not here, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you Wednesday. Thank you.